Australian welterweight title with the gangling Queenslander Len Dittmar.
No one gave me one hope in the world of winning the fight. I mean nobody.
Burns stalks in for the kill. He works Dittmar into position with a right cross and sends him down again with another left which doesn't seem to have much weight. And the count goes to 8 for the second time in the round.
Len looked ready for an early shower. But the frail-looking Queenslander, spurred on by his trainer Snowy Hill, survived the storm and won over 15 rounds in a huge upset.
With his aggression, and as the fight progresses, Dittmar's evasion and reach piles up a points advantage. Burns is starting to flounder, and now it's a matter of whether he can hang on till the final bell. Burns is wilting under a barrage of punishment as referee Henneberry crowns Dittmar the welter title holder on points. Burns' comeback efforts have been jolted. Only his great fighting courage remains undimmed. Dittmar, a worthy new champion.
After the loss to Dittmar, Burns quit again, but at the urging of his manager Joe Taylor came back twice, and on this occasion punched the eyebrows clean off the head of the Lithuanian migrant Pran Mikas.
It's a good fight with plenty of action and the crowd shows its appreciation. Mikas is again off the target with those uppercuts. Burns shows he can still use his head and avoid punishment with split-second timing. The last few seconds of the fight are ticking away. It's been a very even match and a section of the crowd strongly disapproves.
It was to be the last great performance of Burns' career. In Brisbane in 1954, he went barefoot, losing to George Barnes in pouring rain over 15 rounds. And so ended the rocky boxing career of one of the sport's greatest attractions, Tommy Burns, a man of great charisma who never loved fighting but preferred crooning at the clubs.
You know that song, If I Had My Life to Live Over, would you do the same things again? I suppose we would.
At the 1952 Helsinki Olympics, the great Aussie success came in women's athletics, where the Lithgow Flash Marjorie Jackson won both the 100 metres and 200 metres finals. Len Dittmar was making a name for himself, and he too fought wild man Bronco Johnson. Dittmar was too good this night in a classic boxer-slugger battle.
Bronco was as rough as guts, a real street fighter, you know. And he'd come out and he'd start firing immediately. Hits you everywhere, the soles of the feet, the back of the neck, anywhere at all, wherever he could lob one. And I knew all I had to do was to box him. Because after 3 or 4 rounds fighting like that, you haven't got much left, you're a bit tired.
Another cowboy, Hopalong Cassidy, arrived for a visit to Sydney in 1954. When Bronco Johnson first arrived at Ern McQuillan's gym, he was dressed like Hopalong, and Ern thought he was somebody's idea of a practical joke. But fights like this one against Pran Mikas convinced him otherwise. Ern reckoned that if Bronco hit you in Pitt Street, you'd wake up in North Sydney half an hour later.
We were tried boxing in the first place, but then years afterwards I seen how the people, they entertained and they liked a bit of rough stuffing, but they didn't want to see some people boxing around like a pair of girls, so the old saying goes, so easy to get stuck into it, you know, and really have a go.
Bronco also had a series of wild scraps with Alfie Sands, but in their second fight here at the Sydney Stadium, wild was an understatement. There were rabbit killers, backhanders, knees to the stomach and kidney blows. Finally, referee Vic Patrick had seen enough. 40 seconds into round 5, Vic just up and walked out. Cutting cane was tough work for tough men. The cane fields of North Queensland put muscles on Jack Hassan, and Jimmy Sharman's boxing troupe made him famous. Sharman's troupe was an annual treat for thousands of Australian boxing fans in the cities and the country fairs. The troupe uncovered some of the best professional fighters in the country, and when Sharman visited Charters Towers in 1945, a glove was thrown to Hassan. Within 3 years, he was Ern McQuillan's star, following the retirement of Vic Patrick. Hassan was born Jack Friday in Cloncurry, but never really knew his parents and was raised by the family of another great boxer, George Bracken. Jack Hassan became the hero of black kids everywhere, as Bracken explains.
I used to follow him around like a little pet dog, you know. I followed him all around the place, and because he was big time in those days, you know. And he was how would you say, Joe Lewis, Rocky Marzano, or Sugar Ray Robinson of that day, you know.
Hassan had only one dream when he came to Sydney, as he told Ern McQuillan.
Jack, what made you take up the fight game?
Well, I want to get home for my wife and child.
And how are you going, like, towards the home, like, for your wife and child?
Well, I've been going pretty good so far.
Hassan flattened George Capine, then iced Roy Treasure in 4 in this bout before victories against Tommy Stenhouse, and then scored a magnificent victory over the French lightweight Pierre Montanet.